Hello, everybody. This is Mrs. Lamont. I'm back with part 2 in my series on how to write a how-to. So we have written our introduction, our paragraph that leads us into our how-to and answers the questions, what are we writing about and why are we the person to write it? And now we get to the next part, which is really important. And writers call this next part the body of the piece. And the body just basically means the middle. We're going to write the middle of the how-to. A lot of writing, especially how-tos, have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And writers call that middle part the body. It's kind of like the beginning is the head, the middle is the body, and the ending is the feet. And right now, we're going to work on the body, or the middle of our how-to. So if I think about, remember, my how-to is about the topic of how-tos. My how-to is how to write a how-to. So I want to think about my steps of writing a how-to, or my tips, the most important things that I think you need to do if you're writing a how-to. So in the body of my piece, I need to introduce those steps. So I would say something really simple, like, here are my tips for writing a how-to. I could say, or here are the steps you can take, something like that. Yours will be a little different depending on your topic, obviously, but you need to have a little bit of something that leads your reader into the steps. And then what I would do, I would start with number 1 in my tips. And number 1 in my tips would be to use tools like numbers and headings, which, as you can see, I'm doing. I'm using numbers. I'm using a numbered list to go through what I think is important about writing in a how-to. And I think for a lot of you, a numbered list will really help you. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It will just guide your reader through the order of the things they need to do and how you did it. For me, for number 2, I would probably, I'm going to throw a word at you that you might know, be thorough. So thorough means complete. Don't skip any steps, right? Make sure that you let your reader know everything they need to know. That's what thorough means. And how-tos, probably above all, need to be thorough. Because if you skip a step, let me give you an example. If you were writing a how-to about bread making, if you wanted to share with your friends how you make bread with your mom or dad, if you left out something like how much flour to use, that would be a big problem for people. So things like amounts of things that of ingredients that you need, or sizes of things, like if you were building a house out of a cardboard box, you might want to give your reader an idea of how big your box was, so that they don't go through all the steps with a tiny little box and then realize that your point was to be able to go in the box, right? That would be sad. So my next step, I think, number 3, would be pretty simple. Be direct. Just say what you need to say. In a how-to, you don't need to have really long sentences. You can say things like, put the flour in the bowl, stir. We call these polite commands when you just say to someone, do this, do that. And it gives you a chance to use all sorts of wonderful verbs like stir or tie. For me, number 4 of how to write a how-to would be make it all yours. There's a reason that you're the expert here. You're the one writing the how-to. So really give your details, your specific tips. For an example, let's say you're writing a how-to about making oatmeal with your mom. If you love to put a little swirl of maple syrup and raisins on your oatmeal, then be sure to include that, because that's what makes the oatmeal yours. And that's what makes this your how-to and no one else's, which is really exciting. And then the last tip I would say is one that I say a lot in writing, paint a picture. I guess it's show as well as tell. Because obviously you want to tell people what to do, but you want to show what happened for you. You want to give some specifics of what happened as you built this. So maybe if you're writing about building that house out of a cardboard box, you want to explain what you did to make that special. Maybe you drew a window inside with a flower growing that you could see through the window. Something like that. Really show those details. Be really specific because it'll bring your writing to life and it will help your reader see what you did, but also really want to recreate that too. And remember, speaking of pictures, you can include pictures in how-tos. If it helps you in each of your steps to draw a little picture next to it, you should definitely go ahead and do that. A lot of times in how-tos, pictures help people. So that's it from the body part of my how-to writing. Hope that helps you and that you have fun with it. Good luck, and I will be back here soon to talk about the ending or the feat of your how-to. Bye.